If I were home, I would have fallen asleep in the lazy boy, I think. But it's a
Nice
pleasure
plug.
to be here and try this out. It's a little chilly in the studio for me, but we're going to get through this. And if people want to talk about it, we're here for them. But you know what? People saw Victor Wembanyama. This was the Victor experience tonight.
Yes.
They got a good look at everything he can do.
Yes, it was. Blazers fall tonight, 118-105 to the San Antonio Spurs. And as you said, Victor Wembanyama, 30 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 7 blocks.
And he only played 24 minutes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's a stat line right there. I think the stat that they showed during the game is that he's only the third player in the NBA this season to put up a 25, 5, 5, and 5 game, the other two being Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So pretty select territory there. And he kind of had his way. We said we wanted to dare him to shoot the three ball today. He only took 4 attempts, but he made 2 of them. But he was having his way. He was getting his buckets. This was to be expected. No Duop Reith, no DeAndre Ayton, nobody to guard him, right? Moses Brown is big, but Moses Brown isn't the defensive stopper.
Well, Moses Brown's best attribute is being 7'2". And next to Victor, he doesn't move his feet very well. And that's nothing against him. He's just a typical 7-footer who can't run like this unicorn for the Spurs can run. Victor can really move, and what a pleasure it is to watch him play. But interesting game when you fall behind by 28 in the first quarter. Even, if you can get it down to 10, that's a real achievement, which they did manage to do.
Yeah, that's the story of this one, really. At the end of the first quarter, San Antonio led 38-14. And you're going to hear from Chauncey Billups a little bit later. And as he said, he's like, I was surprised we got past 10 in the first quarter. The offense was just stagnant. Nothing was going. They couldn't get a stop against San Antonio. This was a really weird game because neither end of the floor looked good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Spurs shoot 48%. The Blazers, listen to this one. They're 34.7% from the field overall. They're 30.6% from 3, and they're only 75% from the foul line. They missed 8 free throws tonight. They didn't make any shots. If they could have found some offense in the second half, they could have won this game. But they just never, ever found their offensive rhythm.
Yeah, not at all. Malcolm Brogdon had it going, but that was about it. You do have to point out that it was a career-high 25 points for Scoot. A lot of those did come in the final half of that fourth quarter. Early on, I believe, he finished the night 8 for 23, but before he made those final 4 shots, he was 4 of 18 on the night. So it was a tough shooting night for Scoot. However, people have a hard time finding silver linings in these tough losses like this, Dwight. But I thought he was doing a lot of the things you talked about pregame. He was being aggressive, and he was trying to get to the rim, finding a way to the rim. It was just, Victor Wembanyama had 7 blocks on the night. San Antonio was finding ways to alter those shots.
Yeah, I would say of those 7 blocks, 2 or 3 of them were on Scoot, I think. It seemed like they were very attentive to his ability to penetrate. They shelled out their lane pretty well. They had a nice shell working to keep him on the outside. It was a rough night for him because this is a decent defensive team, what with their size and everything. So I think it was fine. They just can't afford to go without their top 2 centers. That's just an impossibility for them, and they certainly can't stand it when they have Kamara 0 for 5. Skylar Mays 0 for 8. Ish Wainwright 0 for 5. That's what, 0 for 18 for 3 players?
Yeah, and the tough part here, too, and granted, again, Duop-Reath didn't play. Scoot was in your starting lineup rather than your bench, but we talked about this pregame, Dwight. In that game against Sacramento, they had 3 players on their bench who scored 17 or more points, and 17 was how many points the entire Sacramento bench scored. Yeah. So they won a lot of that game in large part due to their bench just outplaying San Antonio's bench, or Sacramento's bench. In this one, the Blazers bench totaled 17 points. So there was no production coming off the bench, again, which was to be expected. You're out 8 and you're out Sharp, you're out Ant. That's 3 starters.
Yeah.
Right? So 2 main bench guys going into that starting lineup. Duop-Reath, who's been a breath of fresh air off the bench, not in the lineup as well. He was a late scratch due to some low back soreness. So that was to be expected. Conversely, the San Antonio bench, quick math, does 20, 28, 36, 40 points from the San Antonio bench. So that plays a factor in this one as well. The thing that just strikes me, Dwight, and granted, again, different lineup, whatever, but just another slow start. And that has just been a bad trend as of late.
Well, I was surprised at how little energy that starting group had. They were really sleepwalking at the beginning of the game. They just had nothing going. But, they had 2 fast break points the entire game, just 2 fast break points. This team has to play with pace. They have to do that. And with Scoot in the starting lineup, I would have expected a faster pace, but he couldn't drag those guys down the floor with him. And it's just it was kind of an unfortunate game. It was interesting. I was looking at the plus-minus for the Blazers starters, and Scoot played 36 minutes in this game. He was -6, which was the best of any of the starters. Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah. And that's, but they were better with him on the floor than any of the other starters.
Yeah, absolutely. And funny enough, as the YouTube chat is starting to heat up there, which is great. Go in and go to youtube.com, type in ripcityradio.com. You can get in on the chat. You can also call in 503-248-0620. I might just throw you straight to hold without picking up for a second because, I have to produce and host today. Yeah. It's kind of a fun little balance. But I do got to point out that Sue comments here, Dwight. So I see Chad's already home packing for Montana. He's given up sports for life. Yeah. He's given up sports for life.
Except that he's chasing sports on his vacation.
Yeah, he's out. You guys know where he's at. He's sold. He told you guys over and over and over. He's in El Paso. He's getting ready for the Sun Bowl tomorrow. Oregon State versus Notre Dame, which you can hear right here on Rip City Radio 620 tomorrow, right after Rip City Morning with Justin Myers.
Yeah,
so be on the lookout for that.
They're going to be listening to Justin in the morning. Just keep the dial right where it is, and he'll lead you right into the game.
Absolutely. He will. Question here, though, from BC in the YouTube chat says, will Ant play tomorrow? And I think that's a good question. I didn't realize this, but in the postgame show, it was reported that he was so under the weather that he didn't even make it to the arena today.
Well, that's good if he had like a cold or flu or something like that. You don't want
You
him
don't want to be
around the other
spreading that one.
guys.
I know all about that. Having three little kids at home. If one of you gets sick on the Burkhardt team, everybody's going to
That's
get
right.
sick eventually,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. The Burkhardt team is sidelined if one of them gets sick.
Yeah, Iron Rods, who I applaud his passion. He is not a fan of this losing season. It's tough for him to watch, but he wants to know: is it possible to lose to the Spurs twice in a row? The silver lining: Victor Wembanyama may not play tomorrow, so the
That
game might
changes
be a
things.
little bit easier.
Yeah, you take away 7 block shots, and some of those were going to be made baskets. That alone makes the difference. Plus his 10 for 10 from the foul line, and he has the ability to get to the line a lot. You just wait till he's in the league for a while. Man, he's going to be shooting 15 to 20 free throws a night.
You know what? I think that's an interesting point, actually, because watching him a little bit this season and watching him tonight, I think one part about his game he has not refined is searching for the foul, so to speak. Not flopping like a James
Right.
Harden does, but I mean understanding that how I can take contact and bait those guys into the fouls, or like that rip through move that Chris Paul perfected, right?
Yeah.
Once Vic learns those little things and how to just use his body, you're right. He's gonna be a free throw hunter.
Well, plus, when you have arms that long and shoot the ball that high, if you contest his shot at all, odds are you're going to hit his arm. You're not going to hit the ball. He's up there too high on his shot. You heard Chauncey talk about that. It looks like you can get to it. You can't. He's shooting the ball too high. It's just like you think you have an open path to the basket. You think there's an open layup there? No. He's there and he's going to get it. So you really do have to kind of change the way you look at things when he's on the floor.
Yeah.
And it takes an adjustment period.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because they're used to playing big guys. They're not used to playing guys who are 7'6" with that wingspan and can close ground too. So it's definitely an adjustment. And it's interesting you talk about him getting to the line. He got there kind of late in the game, got quite a few, but that was kind of one of my keys to the game was don't give them free, easy buckets. This is a team that only gets to the free throw line 19 times a game, so they aren't seeking out those free throw lines. They're not getting there that often. Portland sent them there 28 times tonight. They hit 26 of those shots, including 10 of 10 from Vic.
Yeah, there was just a lot of things that went wrong tonight.
A lot,
really,
a
Chris.
lot.
I mean, it won't happen that often that you're that bad at both ends of the floor. Usually you might be bad. You had a bad day defensively or a bad day offensively. To have them both in the same night,
Rough.
that's the kiss of death right there.
Yeah, and as Iron Rods points back out, at least we aren't Detroit, LOL, which is, we'll get to that one a little bit later because it almost looked good for a minute, and then the Pistons pistoned. But
yeah,
I get it. Some of you are upset about the loss, and this game was one that was definitely tough to watch, just because it just seemed like everybody was just a little bit lethargic out the gate, and you cannot afford. And Chauncey said this, like we don't have the talent to just keep digging ourselves out of these holes, and that's true. So you got to find a way to not get in these holes, and that's coming out from the jump with a sense of urgency, and figuring it out not in the third quarter or late in the second. You got to figure it out in the first.
Yeah, you just can't bury yourself. It's one thing to be down by 10 after the first quarter, but be down by more than 20. That's really difficult.
Yeah,
it takes so much energy.
Absolutely. It's really, really difficult unless you're a team like the Boston Celtics. And then those 20-point deficits just aren't much.
If you're playing a really bad team, they disappear in a hurry.
Yeah, what happens when a bad team's playing a bad team? That's what happened tonight. All right, going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. If you want to get in on the chat, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can get in there with Iron Rods and Sean and everybody else who's commenting. Or you can grab your phone, dial 503-248-0620, and you can get on and talk with the Godfather and myself. Chris Burkhardt here with you on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
and sell your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins.
Grant bounces it ahead to Brogdon. Brogdon attacks. He drives. Bounce pass to Grant. He goes underneath. Now stops. Looks back to Brogdon. Another three on the way. Got it again! 10-point game. Timeout San Antonio.
It's time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here. Let's take a look now around the NBA to get you up on some scores that happened out there on the hardwood. And we kind of hinted about this one, but the Detroit Pistons, they were so close to winning one. They were up 20 points at the half, but they couldn't hold on, losing to the Celtics in overtime, 128-129. I believe that puts their losing streak now at 29, which ties the NBA record for most consecutive overall. They already hold the record for most consecutive in a season, but one more loss, and now they hold the record for most overall. Cade Cunningham did have a good game, 31, 6, and 9, and Kristaps Porzingis, 35 points and 8 rebounds for the Celtics. In Chicago, the Pacers grabbed the 120-104 victory over the Bulls. Tyrese Halliburton, a 21.20 assist game. That's a pretty good output for him. Patrick Williams for the Bulls with 22 points leading the way there. In Minnesota, the Wolves won again, 118-110 over the Dallas Mavericks. Tim Hardaway Jr. leading the way for Dallas with 32 points. Anthony Edwards, 44 points and 3 steals for the T-Wolves. In New Orleans, the Pelicans grabbed the 112-105 victory over the Jazz. Lauri Markkanen had 24 and 10 for Utah. Zion Williamson, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists to lead the way for the Pelicans. In Denver, the Nuggets, they put a whooping on the Memphis Grizzlies. Keep in mind, John Morant did not play in this one due to an illness. But the Nuggets won 142-105 over the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane led the Grizzlies with 23 points. For the Nuggets, it was Nikola Jokic with 26 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 assists. In Golden State, the Heat grabbed the win, 114-102. Tyler Hero leading them with 26 points and 7 rebounds. In Los Angeles, the Lakers grabbed the 133-112 victory over the Charlotte Hornets. Terry Rozier led the Hornets with 18 points, 6 boards, and 8 assists. Anthony Davis, 26, 8, and 4 blocks for the Lakers. And, of course, just up I-5 at the Moda Center, the Spurs, 118, your Portland Trailblazers, 105. Victor Wembanyama, 30 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. Malcolm Brogdon, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists for the Blazers. And that is your scoreboard report. Whew, we got through it. That was a lot.
Yeah, you were busy on that one.
Always. That's a tough one. And I always feel a sense of accomplishment when the scoreboard report ends right when the music ends, too. That's a timed thing.
You can't control that? That's just
No, that was timed. You don't have to. Sometimes Chad ends it early. Sometimes he goes over by like a minute.
Oh.
But when you end right as that music fades out, that's a sense of accomplishment right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Very impressive.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you, Godfather.
Yeah.
So once again, tonight, the Blazers dropped one to the Spurs, 118-105. If you want to join in on the conversation, you have 2 ways to do so. You can, one, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and you can find us there. Then you can join the chat with Iron Rods and BC and a bunch of other people out there who are chiming in, which is great to see. So thank you for that. And if you don't want to jump on YouTube, you can grab your phone, 503-248-0620, and I'll answer it over here and we'll get you on. But in the meantime, we'll continue to talk about this one, Dwight. And Victor Wembanyama did have a good game for the Blazers. We'll get to Scoot in a second. But Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Grant, 2 guys we talked about early in this one about how people are going to be looking at them for trade fodder. Malcolm Brogdon had a good game. I mean, this might be that type of game where those fringe teams or those teams looking to add some guard depth for a playoff run might be knocking on the door, right?
Yeah, except, the good thing about him is he has really established himself in the league as what he is. A great 6th man who can start, come off the bench, play either guard spot. I don't think he needs to do much except stay healthy to kind of retain his trade value to this team. He's gonna have value, no question about it, because of what he's already accomplished. He's an established good player in the NBA.
Yeah, it's all just a matter of kind of where he goes. And what about Jeremy Grant? I mean, the shot maybe wasn't falling, but what were you seeing from him?
Well, he was active, I would say that, but it wasn't his night shooting the basketball, that's for sure. 1 for 5 from 3. He got to the foul line 13 times, made 10, 9 for 21 from the field. It wasn't a big night for him, although I will say 10 rebounds. 10
That's
rebounds?
a season high, right?
Is it a career high is the question. I mean, he's a 4 rebound a game guy.
Hey, that's nice to see. And speaking of career highs, Dwight, I mean, did you not see the man Ijubaji had himself a heck of a game in his first real minutes. As Travis pointed out, he played the last few minutes against Sacramento, but this one was where he got his first real run, so obviously everything was pretty much a career high. But 7 points, 3 blocks, 9 rebounds. I mean, not a bad performance from the guy who coming into this game is your 4th string center on a 2-way deal.
Well, if you can get 9 rebounds, 5 of them at the offensive end in 14 minutes, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and you talk about giving up size. That's something you talked about with Vic, and think about that they got Zach Collins out there too. Portland rolls into this game with 2 centers who each played 14 minutes. And because you can only play them as good as Baji played stat-wise, you can only play those guys so long because they are a little bit of a liability at some point. So you got to go with your best players, and that's where you get your 30 minutes out of Jabari Walker, who didn't score the ball but had himself a good game tonight.
But don't you think, Chris, that Baji, I mean, what do they got to lose by playing him a little more just to see what's there?
Nothing, you know? Absolutely, right? Yeah. Especially in this one.
Give him a shot.
And especially for a young guy who they're developing. That's why he's on that 2-way deal. The first player, to make it to the NBA from the NBA Africa program, which is really cool, which I believe is something, I think, wasn't Al-Farouq Aminu involved in helping start that, which is really cool.
I believe so.
It's good to see. I mean, again, sometimes you gotta pick through to find that needle in the haystack, but to find something good to talk about, and it was a good performance.
No, and we're not going overboard about the guy. Nobody's saying he's going to be an all-star or anything like that. But you know what? When you come in and you go 3 for 3 from the field, you block 3 shots in 14 minutes, and you get those 9 rebounds? No. This guy, give him more minutes. Give him more minutes and see what happens. Because
on a night like tonight, like you said, when you have nothing to lose, really, why not?
Well, they got nothing to lose tomorrow either. You know what I mean?
That's all right.
Play him.
Maybe he'll have more career highs tomorrow. You know. All right, let's head out to the phone lines where Victor in Turkey, one of our number 1 callers, always on the line, is ready to talk about this one. Victor, the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm sorry. Sometimes my English disappears when I want to talk. I have to switch my brain. You know, I have to have 2 brains. But before I forget, there's 2-3 days after Christmas. I want to, give you, tell you Merry Christmas to you and your Godfather. In some countries, they don't celebrate Christmas because of a difference of the religion, but I do it all the time because I live in a state, for many years. So I do. Even I have a different religion. I do celebrate Christmas, and I'm happy for you, and your worker over there.
Thank you.
But anyways, I tell you about this game. I'm not really disappointed. I know what will happen, and I tell you why. But sometimes I have a lot of criticism about the Blazer, and I'm really appreciate you because some people they call in and they are not happy with the Blazer, but you accept their their incentive, But about this game, I knew what would happen, and the reason I tell you, when the Blazer the record, when Anthony Simon was injured the beginning of the game, the beginning of the season, You know what happened. You know, we lost 80% of the games and so on and so forth. You know that, Chris, I am the only fan, not the only fan, but I'm probably one of the most fan of the Anthony Simon and also the Godfather. You know, when the Anthony Simon didn't play this game, I knew what would happen from the beginning. You know, the team, the Blazers don't have any leader. I mean, leader as far as the not talking leader, like a Blazer. I mean, playing leader. The playing leader is Anthony Simon. And what I'm saying is, if he goes to the other team, even he's going to play even better than what he's in Portland. So what I'm saying, according to my idea, the Blazers have two valuable players right now, only two. The rest of them, man, they better go to Detroit Pistons, including the Ayton, Anthony Ayton. Okay. I'm not happy with Ayton. You know, like you talk about these guys from Africa. You know, like Baji and the Drew Rich. Those guys, they have guts. You know, they wanna show you they belong to the NBA and they can prove it. They have guts. They are competitive. I haven't seen nothing from Ayton. Half of the time he's on the bench, and when he plays, he doesn't show any guts. He's not happy. What I'm saying is the two valuable players from Portland right now is Anthony Simon and Jeremy Grant. These are, everybody knows that everybody that play basketball or soccer or any valuable any competitive hard games, because I played for 40 years. I know who play good, who doesn't play good. And I think, believe me, Chris, there are only two valuable players that they are impacting the games or the Blazer game. They're Jeremy Grant, which has a high value, and the Anthony Simon. The rest of them, they are mediocre players. They are not going to have any impact. So if they lose, I'm not really disappointed, because I know what will happen. And if last game when they won, against a good team. Who made it happen? Anthony Simon, because they couldn't make a shot. The Anthony Simon presence in the team, when you have a superstar, it's going to rob on the other guys. Yeah, we are a good team. We can make, they can make shots. So that's what will happen to this. And I'm sorry for that. I have to see my frustration about. And not about this losing, because, they lose a lot of games. But because Anthony Simon didn't play, and hopefully play again, and, we can win more games. But I want to get your opinion, that two valuable players we have, Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simon. The rest of them, they are a good player, but they are not really high profile players.
Okay, let me tackle that, Victor, and thank you for the call. That's a long call from Turkey. I appreciate it. They have a lot of young players, and we have to be patient. They have players who are inexperienced, players they're taking a chance on. Maybe some of them have been around on other teams and stuff. So you kind of have to be patient with them and see what happens. It's a team still under construction. They're still building this team. And frankly, they have a long way to go. So on various nights, some of them play well, some of them don't. But it's imperative right now to be patient and just see what plays out. And I know that's so hard for fans to do. They feel like they've been doing that for years. But it's the way it is right now. It's the path that this team chose to follow when Damian left and when they just basically tanked the last two seasons, and they're trying to win this year. And even though they're trying to win, they're not going to.
Pretty much.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they went out tonight and tried to lose.
No.
It's just, so when they face even the worst team in the Western Conference, they come out and they're down by 20 quick. The team's talent is in progress.
Yeah, and I think when you're under-talented a little bit, you get that inconsistency where the previous game you're playing Sacramento, a good team, and they've beaten good teams this year. When everybody's, playing together and playing right and having a good game, anything's possible. But when everybody's not playing well, anything's possible too. So you get the peaks and you get the valleys. That's what the season's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is what it is now. I mean, I agree with Vic. I mean, I think in the team being fully healthy, Grant is a game changer. Grant is an interesting player to me because he needs the team to be healthy for him to have his best games, in my opinion. Like he's a third guy. He's not a one. He's not a two. Like he's
not gonna carry you.
Yeah, he's your third option. He has really good games. And that's what he was when you got him and you hoped it was going to work. It just didn't. Ant's been wonderful outside of that. I mean, there's Shea, who a lot of people like. Some people don't. I mean, the ceiling is whatever it is.
And Ayton.
Yeah.
we don't even know yet. I mean, I think we can agree that so far he has not lived up to expectations.
No, he should be playing better. Instead, he's having one of his worst years. I mean, statistically,
he looks like the Phoenix DeAndre Ayton.
A little bit. Yeah, and that's not the Ayton I want. He's shown flashes. I mean, to be fair, I mean, he's also played many a game with Skylar Mays at point guard and makeshift lineups, which is rough. I want to see what a true lineup of a Scoot and DeAndre Ayton pick and roll game can be. I do know some analytics heads, and I'm not full-on analytics guy. I'm old school, like my eye test, but I do understand that analytics matter to a point, and there's a lot of analytics guys that love what Duop Reith offers from the pick and roll and the efficiency that the team runs it with when he's on the floor. So interesting to see how that goes. But, yeah, I get what you're saying with Ayton. I think what makes Ayton the hard pill to swallow is that max deal. You need more than 13 and 10 on a max deal contract for a center. So.
Well, and that's the thing. People keep talking about him in regard to Jusuf Nurkic. And I would say Nurkic is having maybe a little bit better year than Ayton. He's making half the money.
Yeah.
That changes the picture a little bit, and he gives you room to add other people, whatever. But when you're paying that kind of money for DeAndre Ayton, I think you have a right to expect a little more than what you're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a question. That's it's the money. Money matters. It shouldn't be the end all be all, but it does matter when it comes to kind of your expectations. That is for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, it is time for What's the Scoot? We have hinted at Scoot, but we haven't really dove into the game he had tonight. And yeah, it started out slow, but I think it ended up pretty nice. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes, on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes, and it is time for What's the Scoot? And we talked about Scoot Henderson a little bit. Kind of had a rough game to start, but ended pretty strong. End of the night, 25 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. Did have 5 personal fouls, though. But as you pointed out, Dwight, he did have a negative 6 or a -6 plus minus, which realistically was the best on the team. I don't count the -1 by Ish Wainwright and his 6 minutes of action.
Right.
But what are your takeaways from Scoot tonight, despite that rough start?
Well, for one thing, he was 3 for 7 from 3, which is for him a really good night from 3-point range. And you know what I look at too, Chris? He's 6 for 6 from the foul line, and he's been a pretty good free throw shooter. Normally, a guy who makes free throws will develop into a 3-point shooter. It's technique, it's touch, it's all those things that make a good shooter. Very few guys are good at the foul line and then not good shooters overall. It can be the other way. You see that sometimes, but I think there's some light at the end of the tunnel in thinking that he could develop into a shooter. It wasn't a good shooting night for him, 8 for 23 again. He's still not shooting enough shots that are makeable for him and shooting too many shots that are really just not his shots.
Yeah, I have confidence that those wide open threes that he's getting within these offensive sets, when the ball starts whipping around the horn, he'll start hitting those eventually.
Mm-hmm.
As some people have pointed out on social, that one nice thing is that the shot is starting to at least be on target, right? It's not left, it's not right, it's on target. And I've noticed too that earlier in the season, it was a lot of things short, front rim. Now you're getting a little bit more of that back rim, which is good. That means you're getting the strength in there. Now it's just a matter of fine-tuning and finding where that is. Because if you're hitting everything short, then you ain't putting any effort. You got to get your legs in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think most coaches are okay with you missing long versus short.
Well, it's like a putt. Never up, never in. It's got to get there to have any chance. If it's long, it can hit off the back iron, pop up in the air, and go in. You always have a shot.
Yeah.
It can even bank in off the backboard. If it's short, you got no chance.
Yeah.
It's not going in.
That's how you get those air ball chants,
Yeah.
right? All right, we're going to head back out to the phone lines. If you want to jump in, 503-248-0620. Funny enough, because the YouTube chat was starting to type, Ralphie, come save us. We need Ralph. And now they all think that I called him. Colby Jack's like, did Burkhardt call Ralphie? I'm like, no, I don't have that sway. If I called Ralphie, he wouldn't pick up. He just he lurks in the YouTube channel, and like the bat signal when you call him, he comes a running. That's what he does. That's why he's Ralph the landscaper, and that's why we like him. So Ralph, welcome into the fifth quarter, the Godfather edition.
Yeah, I was really pleasantly pleased and very happy when I turned on the YouTuber there and I saw Mr. Dwight Jaynes in there. That made me very happy because I hear him every so often when I'm out at jobs or just sitting in my office when he's on there with Chan in the afternoon. But I kind of feel for Mr. Jaynes because sometimes Chan just goes and goes and goes and goes, and then he keeps going, and then Mr. Jaynes forgets what he was going to say 7.5 minutes ago. It's not an easy deal, but when you guys seem to have some good chemistry, Mr. Jaynes, can I ask you? I've noticed, and I'm sure I'm correct on this. You really seem to appreciate and like and value Chris Burkhardt, don't you?
I do, Ralph. But I'm not answering any questions from you until you start calling me Dwight, okay? That Mr. Jaynes doesn't work with me.
Well, it's a respect thing. That's okay. People call me Ralph, and I don't say what my last name is, but a lot of people call me by my last name.
Uh-huh.
And, it's just one of those things. But I see when you come in, you're dressed pretty decent all the time when on the YouTube when I see you there, and you look like a professional, like an older version of a newspaper reporter, which I know you were, and an editor in chief and all that stuff at the whole thing. And I've been trying to talk Burkhardt into trying to up his game in that department a little bit, but he doesn't listen to me.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, if you got to dress for the job you want. That's how it goes. Dress for the job you want. And I think he's going to either be working in a tattoo shop real soon, or he's going to be a barista.
He could save a lot of money if he worked in a tattoo shop. He could get some bargains on that. But Ralph, you're a wise man, and you're giving him good advice. The problem for Burkhardt is, I don't think we pay him enough to buy anything but T-shirts. You know what I mean?
I think Chan has some clothes. Chan dresses well.
Sometimes, yeah. He has a lot of T-shirts in him too. But when he wants to, Chad can look pretty darn snazzy. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think Chan, if let me just put it this way, Dwight, whatever that's your name, Dwight.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way: if I put some heat on Chan, I guarantee you we can get Burkhardt, at least a couple of good shirts. You don't need to. We don't care about his pants because we can't see him below the counter. He may not be wearing any pants for all I know right now.
Well, he's wearing shorts.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like a news anchor.
We can get him 5 new shirts,
right?
Yeah. Ralph,
get him 5 good button-up shirts and have him rotate in there. And he, now that hair, that's another problem. I've been working on him with that for a long time, but that's where the tattoo and the barista guy comes in. But, what can I say, what can I say, Dwight? I don't know what I can do. I was hoping you could influence him a little bit.
Well, I tried, but Ralph, here's the thing. If you think you can influence Chad with that, I encourage you to go ahead, because he deserves a lot more money. I mentioned it earlier tonight. He's doing the work of 3 guys here tonight. He's carrying me because, all I can do is sit here and talk. I can't push those buttons in the other room. I mean, I haven't been trained for that. I don't have a license for that, but he's got all that stuff down. He's a smart guy. And I've worked with him before when he's operating a camera. He's a videographer is what he is, really, and a darn good one. And he can write. He can do everything. But, we're paying him like a guy holding the big red sign out on the freeway somewhere. Well, actually, those guys make more money than he does. But anyway.
Yeah, I told him before, he's very talented. He gets all these graphics. He got the whole darn thing on YouTube. Yeah. Then he went all across the radio station, put all these other nickel and dime stupid little shows on there, and then he does the Blazer deal on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And then he goes and works some high school football and does a nice job there. And then I believe he does some post game time. He is a very talented guy. And I don't want some executive at a place that actually pays more than 2 nickels you can rub together. You like that one, don't you, Dwight?
I do, yeah. Old.
Yeah, that's an old one. These young kids don't know. You don't have 2 nickels to rub together. That's what they say. Like the orb in there in the chat. He has no idea what that means. But I'm glad that you do. So, I want some executive to see him and then start a little bidding war for Mr. Burkhardt services. That's what I want to see.
I bet he does too. Yeah. He'd like to see that.
Well, let's start with a good button-up shirt from Chan. Even if Chan finds it, in his closet, one he just doesn't wear, probably looks pretty snazzy. Because we all know Chan hasn't been on a date in about 9 years.
I'm afraid you're correct. Yes.
So we know there's some.
Ralph just has a misunderstanding here, Dwight. YouTube ruined everybody. I just dress for radio. That's what I dress for. You're not supposed to see. Plus, I dress for maximum efficiency. You see the amount of moving I got to do back here and the buttons. I can't be restricted by the button-up shirt at this moment. Plus, I got the office job also that I have to dress up for. That's where I dress up.
Yeah, but let's not get too lame now about...
There you go. Get him, get him, Dwight.
You don't need a tracksuit to work where you're working right now. You don't need.
I
mean, come on now.
I do.
We don't need a Nike endorsement here.
That's right. Yeah, just a nice shirt with buttons on it would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. What's on your hat there?
A graphic shirt that just says button.
You talking to me, Ralph?
Yeah, what's on your hat there? Is that a,
That's a Baltimore Oriole, old school Orioles hat.
Well,
Friend of
that's-
mine gave me. Yeah.
that's what I thought. That's a. I do appreciate you, Mr. Dwight. Dwight, when you come in there and kind of, add experience and knowledge from the experience. You're not just a old grouchy, old dried up piece of toast that has experience. You've got experience and the knowledge to remember all this stuff that happened out throughout these years, and that makes a great big difference. And I just want to call in and say I appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate Chris Burkhardt. Now go, Mr. Dwight, go out there to the original Steer when you get a chance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know the place. I've been out there.
Yeah, go out there and say hi to Mr. Burkhardt's pappy, because he, Mr. Burkhardt worked there, and you don't sit around and you got to work when you go there. It's not a bunch of lackeys, because I don't think his pappy is going to put up with a bunch of lackeys.
No, I would believe Mr. Burkhardt runs a pretty tight ship out there, and it is a good place. We've bought meat out there, and it's really good. It's just a long way from where I live right now. We're out in the country, You know what that's like. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. Iron Rods on the YouTube. He needs to go out there and get some meat, and then heat up those iron rods and put the meat on there.
Yeah, that's right. That would work, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, good. There'll be a good sear on there. So, all right. Well, you guys have a good night, and good talking to you, Dwight. I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Maybe I'll call when Chan's on there with you, if he would shut up long enough for you and I to talk.
That would be good. We'll be here again tomorrow night, by the way. I'm covering him. I'm covering him again tomorrow, so we'll be back.
All right, overtime. See you later.
All right, Ralph.
All right, there's old Ralph the landscaper.
He's got a pretty good grasp of the history of all of us working here. I would say that for him.
Yes, that's for sure. He just he doesn't like my style. Now there are people who like my style. The chat has turned into I can't wait for Chris to get on cam to see what shirt he's wearing today. So I appeal to the masses. I just don't appeal to Ralphie. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I got a lot of those shirts. I probably should wear one of those shirts with a message on it one of these days.
Yeah, you need to wear some graphic tees.
Yeah, I've got a whole drawer full of them. I reserve those for the summertime, sitting out in the backyard, Yeah.
Dwight's gonna walk in with one of those "Suns Out, Guns Out" shirts.
Yeah, I got the Andre the Giant 8th Wonder of the World T-shirt. That's a pretty good one.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I have that shirt that Belushi wore in Animal House.
Okay, the college. See,
I love that shirt.
I'm gonna get one like that that just says "button" across the chest.
There you go.
I wore a button shirt for you, Ralphie.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to listen to Coach Billups take you to the coach's corner, and then we'll head on out and go get some rest because we got to be right back at it tomorrow for Spurs Blazers round 2.
And we got to get up and watch the Sun Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if the chainsaw sound traveled with them. Did they get to play it at the Sun Bowl Stadium?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather Dwight Jaynes on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Time Jeep of Portland presents the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups. Time for a brand new ride from Time Jeep of Portland. You won't believe the huge deals they're offering. With over 300 new and used vehicles to choose from, you'll find the perfect ride for your new adventure at Time Jeep. Find us just minutes away from the Moda Center off I-84 or visit timejeep.com. Drive with time.
All right, it is time to head down to the Coach's Corner. But before we do, I'm going to shout out to Charlie, who's waiting on the phone. Stay there, Charlie. We'll get you as soon as we hear what Coach Billups had to say following this loss tonight to the Spurs.
How do you keep having these nights where you don't show up in the first 8-10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, it was tough. I mean, I think the biggest thing, I felt like we were ready to scrap and, ready to get off to a good start. I thought the turnovers really just hurt us, man. It just hurt us to start the game. I mean, start the game, you got to that's when you're trying to establish yourself, on both sides of the ball. And turnovers, live ball turnovers, we got off to, just a lousy start. And, you get 14 points in the first. I didn't know we'd make it to 10. It was so bad out there. And then I was proud of us from that point on. I was proud of us for fighting. I mean, there was a couple instances where we were very close to getting over the hump, But I tell our guys all the time, we're not good enough to just get behind all the time. We're not good enough right now to be able to do that, and we try. But it was unfortunate getting off to such a bad start, man.
Do you feel like it took you guys a little longer than you hoped for to adjust to Vic's presence? It seemed like a lot of guys were taking pulling up a step shorter than they normally do because they just weren't used to that.
And I thought, I wanted to, obviously it's everybody's first time playing against him. So there's an adjustment period, and there was one time out early in the fourth quarter when I said, guys, we have to understand it looks open, but it's not. We put our head down and we get to the basket, and once we take off, that it's not open. This kid is there every single time. So, it's tough to see that. When you in the middle, you trying to do your thing. You looking at one or two guys in front, and he just appears. I thought it took all of us, like you said, too long to adjust to it. But shoot, man, that's the beauty of having somebody like that. You just never know where he's at, but just know that he's going to be right there. And I thought his presence defensively was incredible. Those 7 blocks he had and so many other things that he just changed up.
Yeah, there you hear Coach Billups after the game. And I do like that little tidbit of you think it's there, but it's not. Like, that's Vic.
Yeah.
He's basically 11 feet tall when you factor in that wingspan is. You really notice it when he was sitting there getting ready to shoot a free throw, Dwight, and his hands, I'm like, his arms look darn near as tall as maybe some of the people in the stands. Just his shoulder to wrist, like, big guy.
Yeah. It's not only that, too, but he can move his body parts. His hands are quick. He can get his hands up to catch a hard pass. He can get them up quick to block your shot. He's not a lumbering big like we're kind of accustomed to seeing. It's like when Moses Brown is running down the floor next to Wemby, he looks like he's running in quicksand.
Right.
And it's nothing against Moses Brown. He's running like a 7-footer. But Wemby, he runs like a 6-footer. He can run.
And I think, like kind of what you're laying down, like think of like a Sean Bradley, who is 7'6" as well.
Yeah.
Like he had that like long, lengthy, just looked uncoordinated when he ran, right?
Yeah.
Vic had a play today where he's just full gallop mode and catches an alley-oop pass for a dunk like a LeBron would. Like it's very, very quick movements for that size.
Yeah, the only other big I've seen run like that was Wilt Chamberlain. And Wilt was about 275 pounds running like that because he was a track man.
Yeah.
He was like on the track, Big 8 champion in like the 400 meters, I think, 440 in those days. So this kid can actually run like somebody much smaller, and that's huge for a guy that big. I mean, most of those guys are not runners.
Yeah, absolutely. So sky's the limit, and luckily for the Blazers, they probably won't have to play him tomorrow because he isn't going to play the second of the back-to-back. At least that's what we have been hearing. All right, let's head back out to the phone lines where Charlie has been waiting patiently. He said he had something to tell me, but he wanted to tell me on air here. So, Charlie, the floor is yours. Charlie. You there, Charlie? Boo.
Charlie, don't do that to us.
Let's put him back on hold.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's working. It's not me. My buttons are working. Oh, he dropped his call. Dang it, Charlie.
Don't do me like that.
Let's see if he calls back. If he calls back, we'll give him a minute here before we leave. He said he had a shirt he bought me for holiday and wanted to get it to me.
No
but he wanted to tell
you're
me.
Giving him a second chance.
Right.
There's something in it for you.
Charlie, you there? Nope. Dropped again. Come on, Charlie. You're killing me.
Cell phones. Get a real phone.
Charlie, you there?
I don't know. I hope so. Am I?
I can hear you. You're on air. What you got for me, buddy?
Hey, the most frustrating part of the season has been the fact that not enough people called or Ralph gets on the air. Please, Ralph, don't call anymore. No one wants to hear your business ventures. No one wants to hear your opinions about everything in life. This is sports, man. Have a tape that relates to sports because I haven't heard it yet. You suck, Ralph. And I've sold 300 of those sweatshirts that say, Ralph, don't call. It's amazing. And I got one in the mail for you. So I just thought I'd let you know about that. Ralph, please stop, man.
Charlie, be nice. Come on now.
Charlie,
Be nice.
Charlie bit me. Remember that old meme, that old video that went around?
Yeah.
Ralph's great, Charlie.
He's regular.
Yeah.
We like our regulars.
The fifth quarter is what makes the fifth quarter great. The fifth quarter is all about going off the rails, Charlie.
Yeah. Characters.
Yeah.
Real, honest to
Charlie's
goodness,
a
one
character.
of a kind characters.
Charlie's a character.
He must be. Is that shirt real? Have you seen?
I don't know if it's real, but I would wear it just to be ornery since all the hate I got for wearing nothing but T-shirts today from Ralph.
Yeah.
So it better be showing up at the front desk here shortly, Charlie. I'll add it. I did get a shirt from one of our listeners sent to the front desk, and it was from Mika, and it's just a talk purdy to me.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'm down with it. I'm going to rock it because I'm going to wear it around Chad until he decides to like that man.
It's going to be a long time.
Yes.
You know that.
The 49ers could win a Super Bowl this year, and Chad would find a way to move the goalpost on Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Fred Warner and Christian McCaffrey won that Super Bowl, Burkhardt. I'm going to look at him and say, yeah, well, Terrell Davis won that Super Bowl, not John Elway. Get over yourself. All right, Godfather, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Yeah.
What do you say we do it again tomorrow?
Why not?
I think so.
We'll keep at it till we get it right.
Hey, man, busy day on Rip City Radio 620 tomorrow. You have Justin Myers in the morning, pending the health and well-being of all our producers.
Yeah.
You'll have Justin Myers. He'll get you ready for the Sun Bowl down in El Paso. The Oregon State Beavers taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You can listen to that live right here on Rip City Radio 620. And
Mike
of course,
Parker on the call.
Oh,
right?
the great Mike Parker, right? And of course, Chad Dewing will be down there. So make sure you follow him on Twitter. I'm sure he'll have some updates. And then after the game, it'll be you and I for the Rip City Drive. And then at 4:30, game day, getting you ready for Blazers versus Spurs round 2.
And maybe we can get Chad on from the site of the game to give us a full report.
We will try if they get cell phone service down there in the West Texas town of El Paso.
Maybe.
Wasn't that Johnny Horton? Is that an old school throwback? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down in the West Texas town of El Paso. Yeah, I'm an oldie at heart, Dwight. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's been fun, Rip City. We will see you tomorrow.